Yeah. What do you think about the season this year? Who's going to be making it?
Giants are terrible. They got good pitching, but no bat.
How about San Diego? What do you think?
Odds on, yeah. San Diego, they'll take it all, no doubt.
I mean to talk to you about. Have you heard anything about our 23 Indian? I think this is the year we're supposed to be having it. I just wondered if has anyone contacted you or get any information on it?
That's right. I completely forgot about that. No, I haven't heard a thing. Have you?
No. They wouldn't know how to get a hold of me anyway. You're the only person that I've had any contact with from our high school class in the last 20 years.
Wouldn't that be a treat to see some of those people again?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been 20 years.
I'm not old enough to be having a 23 reunion.
I know I'm not.
I wonder what it would be like. Play magic. If we could sit and talk with some of those people and see what they're up to nowadays. What they've been up to. Wouldn't it be nice to get maybe 10, 12, 14 people and just sit them down in a room and say, what's going on?
Yeah.
Trees swaying in the summer breeze, showing off their silver leaves as we walked by. Soft kisses on a summer's day, laughing all our cares away, just you and I. Sweet, sleepy warmth of summer nights, gazing at the distant lights in the starry sky. They say that all good things must end someday. Autumn leaves must fall. But don't you know that it hurts me so to say goodbye to you? Wish you didn't have to go. No, 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 no. And when the rain beats against my window pane.
Bill Kenny, 20 years later. Who was your one unrequited love?
You're really going to do this, Junior. I was always in love with Chris Lube, but she was always a foot taller than me, and of course she married Joe, who was a foot and a half taller than me, so if you don't, it'd be good if you didn't put this on the tape.
What was the most outrageous prank you ever performed during school hours?
Being involved with, we had a spirit week, if you recall those things where there was competition between the grades, and we were seniors, and we decided we wanted to make a statement because we got tired of bong 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 or whatever it was that they used to come on and then talk to us out of the little boxes in the classes. And Danny Huntley was scheduled at our rally. We had Joe Coxey and the Kinks, which I'm sure you all remember dearly, and Danny followed them with a folk song, and he did this folk song on little boxes made of ticky-tacky in the classrooms. And I remember standing out there and I was laughing, really, I was just chuckling inside, and looking around and watching teachers kind of nodding and going like this, and then kind of listening to the song and listening to what he was saying and kind of go, you know, drop. The smile was gone, and they start looking for me, and I don't know why they would do that, but I remember spending some time with Mr. Stewart at the time, and you know, they were mad at Dan and myself, and of course Sharon Taylor was the head cheerleader, and she disavowed any knowledge, of course. But we didn't win Spirit Week that year, but I think we made an important statement. And I think they looked back, those teachers looked back on us and probably thought we were more fun than some of the people that came after them.
Window pane, I'll think of summer days again and dream of you.
Sherry Messler. What is your married name now? 1985?
McQueenie.
McQueenie. The years that have passed, 20 years, I want to put you in a time capsule. I want to take you back. When you go back to our class of 65, what do you remember most?
Probably my Volkswagen and the 8 or 9 girls I tried to fit into it on the weekends.
Sherry, we're talking about our youth, our days in high school. What particular bits of nostalgia come to your mind when you think of 1965?
As an adult now, and I think back on my high school years and the groups that I tried to be in and the people that I tried to be friends with, in retrospect, again, if I had to do over again, I would not have been so social conscious, because it turns out that the people that were nobody, you know what I mean, not in the in groups, turned out to be the nicest people. And that part I miss, because I wish I would have befriended those people that were quiet and maybe didn't try to get into the in groups, because they probably would have, I ended up not having any friends in my, out of high school and 20 years from high school. I have a few that I communicate with maybe every 3-4 years, gosh, even longer than that. But I know of some girls that have remained friends after all these years that weren't popular. And, it's a true friendship, and I envy that.
Coach Bob Kennedy, 20 years later. As we reflect back on our class of 65, what memories come to your mind?
Memories. Well, first of all, probably because it's you as our sophomore basketball team when you were a sophomore, and the good times we had in those days, hard work, but happy times. Memories that I think I try to remember the baseball players mainly, because I was coach for 26 years, of course, and I try to remember those players, and it's hard to think back so many years who were the ones that played for me during those times. But when I compare the years then and the years recently, just before my retirement 2 years ago, they were happier times for me. It seemed like the students were having more fun at school. Things just seemed to be a little more disciplined then. It seemed like after the 70s, in the mid-70s, so to speak, it wasn't as much fun, and it seemed like to me, at least for me in coaching, there was a period in there that was kind of dead in the water. That I really appreciated the 60s, and certainly the class of 65 entered into that too.
Gazing at the distant lights.
Linda,
Yes, 20
years later, here we are.
here we are.
Your married name now is?
Are you ready? Asakawa, good all-American name.
Okay. Going back 20 years, when you remember 1965, the class, the school, what immediately comes to mind, the most poignant, the most permeating memory that you might have?
My friends, my good friends.
In particular?
Sherry Messler, Gil Berlin, and Linda Garmeyer.
Laughing all our cares away, just you and I.
Cindy, 20 years later, here we are. And your married name is?
Gavitt.
Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with yourself nowadays?
Well, I work on the Women's Auxiliary for Children's Hospital. I'm real active with that. I have 2 small children, one 10 and one 8. I enjoy gardening and I raise orchids.
When you think of 1965, what immediately comes to mind?
Oh, a lot of friends and carefree times, happy times.
If you were to think of one incident in particular that really sticks out, is there any one that was perhaps engenders with you the most emotion?
Oh, probably graduation. I think that was a real bittersweet time. Happy to be graduating and yet sorry to see friends going, and that's why this reunion is going to be a lot of fun, I think, to get together with people we haven't seen in a long time.
Linda, when you remember instructors, teachers, whom would you say had the greatest impact on you, both positive and negative?
I think it had to be the Dragon Lady, Mrs. Bruce. There was never a teacher like her at that school. I hated her. It was a love-hate relationship. Everybody hated her, but everybody loved her because they knew she was probably the best teacher any of us ever had. I think the people who didn't have Miss Bruce really missed a lot out of our education.
Okay. All this stuff that's coming up for us, the reunion, reacquainting ourselves with our roots, and these people that really helped shape who we are today. Each one of us had an impact on each other through our jokes and our laughter and our tears and all this stuff. When you think of that, if you had a few words to say, what kind of message, Cindy, would you want to give to the class of 65?
Thanks for the memories, I guess.
That's fine. Linda, how about you?
I can't up her one bit.
Okay.
I'm chairing this reunion thing, and I'm having a wonderful time. The memories that are coming back are unbelievable. Unbelievable. I got to tell you, though, about my favorite memory, because I want to do something to somebody.
Do.
Gentleman, I think that will all remembers. What's his, Bill who? little short round? Bill Kenny.
That's him.
The day we fell off the couch in my living room. My father came home, and we fell off the couch. It was probably the best thing that ever happened to us.
There's got to be more to this story.
That's it.
That's it.
Sweet, sleepy warmth of summer nights.
Louise Gregson, here you are, after all this stuff. What is your married name now?
Doherty.
Doherty.
Uh-huh.
And what have you been doing for the last 20 years?
Well, 3 marriages later, I'm on number 3, so that's been a lot of my life. But just working, raising a daughter, and being married.
And what kind of work?
I'm a dental secretary for a children's dentist.
Okay. When you think back to 1965, 1964, 1963, what are some of the most immediate thoughts that come to mind?
High school was a fun time. I wouldn't trade them. When you talk with people about being in high school, I really enjoyed high school.
What instructors do you most remember? Are there any particular instructor?
Civics teacher, Mrs. Bruce.
Okay. And your memories of her?
She was a real witch. I think, I mean, she really made an impact on probably everybody she came in contact with. But I really, truly disliked her.
What do you hope this reunion will bring? How do you want it to be? You're on the committee. You're helping to plan it. What do you want this to be?
Oh, maybe some bringing together people that you can be friends with again, like in high school. You know, there's a lot of people in town, even that you haven't seen. you don't ever see. It was real, the committee's real neat to be able to, see those people again, too.
What does that mean to you, the roots? Because those are our roots, and we've been discussing that. Is that real important to you?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I think, well, the friendships that you made in high school are they seem to be really strong ties. You can see somebody after 20 years and it's just like they're your next door neighbor or something.
Okay.
Everything the 20 years just go away.
Sweet, sleepy, warm loves.
Robert White. 20 years later, here we sit. When you think back in the high school days, who were your most favorite and least favorite teachers?
It's funny because my favorite instructor, I can't remember his name. That's how long it's been, I guess. But I do remember Bernie. You're going to have to help me. Nope. Well, not the instructor, but Bernie. Bernie, I can't remember his last name right offhand.
Was that Weed's classroom?
Yeah, Weeds, that's his name. We used to make foghorn calls, and we'd bring in that little farm game and pull the string and it'd go, and we just cracked up all day long. And he was really tolerant about it. He didn't get totally upset. In fact, he laughed with us. He had a good time. And I always thought that he was a pretty good guy and a good instructor. My least favorite, there's no reason to.
Go ahead and mention it anyway.
No, there's no reason to.
If you had a word to leave the class of 65, a thought, a memory, what would it be?
I think that, first of all, I'm glad that we're having the 20th reunion, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. There are some people that decided that they don't want to come and they don't want to be a part of it for whatever reason. I don't think that anybody sits down and decides, gee, why don't they want to come? It's just that there's some people that have been contacted and feel that they don't want to be here. School wasn't as important as the friends that you made in high school. The lasting friendships, and geez, it's great when you see people. I haven't seen you in, 17 years, something like that. I haven't seen Carl in 18 or 19 years or whatever. And it's good to see you. You guys look older. I'm still young. You'll find that out when you go to the reunion. Everybody else will look older, and you will still be the same age as you were in high school. Everybody else is grayer and has less hair and got a little heavier, but you're still the same. Everybody believes
a little
that.
heavier. That's very political of you.
Yeah. But I think, I'm a little sad that the people that we knew in high school, we've lost contact with quite a few of them. In fact, it's hard to find a lot of them. And you go on your own way, and that's the way life is.
They say that all good things must end someday.
Karen Kibbe, 20 years later. Pretend you're in a time capsule. Go back to the 60s. What do you remember of high school?
How hard it is to remember high school 20 years later. Oh, gee. I remember being on the speech team, and that
Jack
took
Nolan.
up... Yeah, he was great. It took up a lot of my time. I used to go to tournaments and things like that. And a lot of times at lunchtime we'd meet in the speech room and just bull around to each other, how high school kids do. Big plans. And I used to practice my speeches sometimes and walk outside the building, and you have to speak out loud and get used to emoting. And I'd be emoting along, and I'd turn around and I'd see some Spanish class or something looking out the window at me laughing. So
there are rumors in high school that in a particular class that there was a spider walking on the wall, and a certain person caused the sudden demise of that spider. Do you remember that?
Not really. Keep going, though. It sounds familiar.
Okay, like perhaps you took off your shoe and
Shoe,
smashed
yeah.
it on the wall in the
On the
middle
wall.
of the class?
Oh, yeah.
Would you like to
Why
comment
did
on
you
that?
hear that? No comment.
No comment. When you look at the 60s, just for a second here, how has that affected you to be the person that you are today?
In 25 words or less? Well, I remember the 60s as being a very dramatic era. I remember that for one of our rallies for homecoming or something, some of the cheerleaders and song leaders got together and they put on Beatle wigs and they did an imitation of the Beatles. And that was in like late 64, early 65, and they were just hitting it big in this country. So I feel like I was on the cusp of that whole revelation and the whole flower power movement. After high school, I went and spent a year in Haight-Ashbury and, you know, got all involved in the flower child thing. And then I got married and my husband went to Vietnam, so I went through the whole Vietnam experience. And then looking back 20 years, you feel like you've lived a lot of history, and to be in a dramatic situation like that I can relate to where my kids are today and the groups that they like, things like Rat and Ozzy Osbourne and Iron Maiden and Twisted Sister. It's all really weird if you take it seriously. But if you remember where we were in 65 and you're saying it's just an equivalent phase they're going through, and it's kind of a gash, you know, where two different colored earrings or different lengths and things like that. So that's one way, having gone through that kind of fun, I can let my kids go through that kind of fun. It seems to me earlier on, like in the 50s, people didn't have that freedom. Everybody wore suits and short hair. Our group, our age, was really the turning point of long hairs. Of getting in touch with feelings and of, you know, exploring your own potential, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Takes a while to do, though. You know, it's the hard way around.
Is there an easy way?
I don't know. You think Ivy League kids go to high school and go straight into college, go straight into business and never have any hassles? I feel like coming from a town like Chula Vista and the kind of fun I had in those days tends to make you less responsible for a while, but at the same time it makes you better adjusted, so that in later life you do things you want to do and you're happy doing them. We were talking about this a few minutes ago. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm living happily ever after in Lakeside. I have 9 chickens and dozens of eggs, dog, couple of cats, a sweetheart.
And you're obviously not happy at all.
No, not at all.
Summer through, I thought I'd found my dream in you. For me, you were the one, but that was yesterday, and yesterday's gone. We walked together hand in hand, crossed miles and miles of golden sand. But now it's over and done, 'cause that was yesterday, and yesterday's gone. We had such happiness together. I can't believe it's gone forever. Wait till summer comes again.